òfò ọmọ àdábàdé ọmọ àdábàdé ikú tí pọnmọ́ lọ́sọ́ ìrìnwó orí àgbátá ó pè pàdé ọ̀rọ̀ lọ́kùnrin ẹlẹ́kùnrin ọ̀bọ̀rọ̀ jẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ọ̀bọ̀rọ̀ ká ó lè bá àdéjẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ ni káàkiri ọ̀wọ́ adé ọ̀gbọ́n oníkòkò
Alright everyone, welcome to Trending Nigeria. The latest in the news now is from the power tussle between the Ooni of Ife and the Alaafin of Oyo. As we all know, historians made it known to everyone that these two men are the most prominent and powerful men in Yoruba Kingdom. Of course, if you are a student of history, back then in your history days, you see a lot of things being said about the Alaafin of Ife, how he was able to hold on to the Oyo Empire that spanned from Oyo itself to Ilorin, then to Dahomey, the present day Benin Republic. Of course, then there are series of events that always come up on that matter, and then this has really thrown a lot of Yorubas into confusion, and a lot of scholars as to who really resides, who really have that power, who power really resides on or in Yoruba space. Now, traditionally speaking, there are a lot of histories backing up this claim, but a lot of people we always want to distort history depending on the side of the divide they choose to belong. Now, if you are an historian or somebody that are going to follow up with Yoruba culture, kings, and the emergence of kingship in Yoruba land, we all know that the progenitor of the Yoruba race is the Oduduwa. And if you go deeper, there are even those that were even king before Oduduwa. But of course, a lot of people know the Oduduwa as the progenitor of Yoruba race. Now, back to the main story here. The tussle agreement between the Ooni of Ife and Alaafin of Oyo. If you remember, when the Ooni of Ife came to power, he came to power about I think about 10 years ago. He made peace with the then the Alaafin of Oyo, the late Oyo king, and then it seems that the tussle between Ooni of Ife and Alaafin of Oyo has always been there, not with this set of king in Yoruba land, but of course it now refers now over a chieftaincy confirmation to one of the highly placed Yoruba individuals. I think the Yoruba individual is from Oyo thereabout, and then the Ooni of Ife now bestow a chieftaincy title on the fellow, and this angered the Alaafin of Oyo, saying that he doesn't have the jurisdiction to bestow a chieftaincy title on that fellow. Now, if you want to juxtapose this with the Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò, it now seems to be that the Alaafin seems to hold the political power to declare things in traditional Yoruba customs and heritage. Now, if you look at the Ooni, for example, he's more or less a spiritual leader that's in charge of spiritual affairs of Yorubas. That's why you see him in charge of that popular festival in Osogbo Festival, where a lot of people go there, even outside Nigeria, go there to get healing water, to cure their sicknesses, to cure their infirmity. But of course, the European power seems to have placed the Ooni above the Alaafin of Oyo, because if you look at the history in Yoruba land, the history of the Oyo Empire, there was no time the Ooni of Ife was made mention. It was in post-colonial era that we begin to hear the Ooni of Ife. Now, a lot of people have always come up with the theory that uh, the Ooni is above the Alaafin of Oyo. But then there are so many stories on this matter. But then if you keep looking at these stories up and down, you begin to offend a lot of sensibilities in Yoruba land. But the constitution of Nigeria now places the Ooni above the Alaafin. Now, after the Sultan of Sokoto, in fact, the Sultan of Sokoto and the Ooni of Ife are um, traditional heads in Nigeria. They take decision with each other in consultation. Now, the present quagmire now seems to have been a quagmire that has always been between the Ooni and Alaafin. It didn't just start today. Now, but this present quagmire now, and then it resurfaced again, and the Alaafin was now gave the Ooni of Ife 48 hours to declare, to undo the proclamation he made on that particular highly paid Yoruba individual. Now, before now, the social media has been awash with a lot of toxicity between especially from the side of the Alaafin, when we saw a particular picture where the Alaafin was sitting down and then shaking hands with the Ooni of Ife, and a lot of Yorubas now began to wonder why should that be? That's a serious disrespect from the Alaafin. And then, if you want to look at this critically, the Ooni is the spiritual head of the Yoruba empire or the Yoruba race, while the Alaafin is the political head of the Yoruba race. And then, seems now to mean that power is kind of divided between both of them. They have their limitation, what they can do and what they shouldn't do. But it now seems that one of them has trespassed against the law. But are we looking at the situation where the Supreme Court will do a kind of interpretation in this matter? Some people, especially from other tribes, are saying that Yoruba are not united. But I feel that that kind of statement is so disgusting. Because right from time, the Yorubas have always known, I think Yorubas fought the longest, if not the only intra-tribal war, that all part of Yorubas were against themselves. So it's not a big deal. It has always been so. The Yorubas have always have that tussle about who is supreme between their foremost king. So I want you to comment in our comment section. I want you to, what do you think about this latest development? Do you think power between these two should be separated in such a way that each of them will have a definite role? Because as it is now, the Ooni is the most recognized Yoruba king in Yoruba land. And if you go back by history, there are documents stating that at the time the Ooni was the most prominent king in Yoruba land. In fact, there was a particular document which stated that when those territories that used to be that now form Nigeria came together as an amalgamation, it was only the Alaafin of Oyo that was present to sign that document. So at what point did the Ooni of Ife emerge as a supreme king in Yoruba land? So it's just a lot of argument in that matter. If you trace it to the Oduduwa, the progenitor of the Yoruba race, the Alaafin of Oyo, the man that stole that throne, that stole that seat, he used to be the grandson of Oduduwa, that founded first of all, he founded the Oyo Empire, then later on founded the Benin Empire. His name is his name is Oraminyo, and then he's the seventh son of Okambi. Is known as Okambi, I think in Oyo dialect, and he's known as Ogun. in other dialects in Yoruba land. He was the only son of Oduduwa, but Akambi gave birth to 7 sons, of which Oramiyan is the seventh of those sons he gave birth to, and he founded Oyo Empire before now founding the Benin Kingdom. He tried to he established the uppership in the Benin Kingdom after dethroning the Ogiso dynasty. Now, looking at that now, and then there was a particular there are other insinuation that the Ooni was never part of that lineage of Oduduwa. But a lot of people will get angry over this, especially from Yoruba, will get angry over this. But it's left for scholars now to really work on these theories and this history to let us know the true side of things, considering the fact that the Ooni, the seat of the Ooni is or was rather the spiritualist to Oduduwa. Now and then, according to that side of the story, it stated that when Oduduwa died, and there was nobody to succeed him because the seventh grandson were outside Ife. The Ooni has to be the placeholder. That is why today the Ooni is regarded as the placeholder of Oduduwa. Now, if you look at that critically now, and then we now have an Alaafin who is now the grandson of Oduduwa, who do you think should be the head of Yoruba race? I will leave the question to you while we await what pans out in the few days to come on this matter. Is the matter going to proceed to the Supreme Court, or what do we expect the court to say on this matter? Does the Ooni of Ife has jurisdiction or has the power to make appointment or to give chieftaincy title to whoever he desires in all part of Yoruba land, or is it that the Ooni of Ife is just limited to the Ife axis, and then between him and the Alaafin of Oyo, whose ancestor held the old Oyo Empire, which of them do you think has that right or power to confirm chieftaincy title, or to confer rather chieftaincy title on any desiring Yorubas? Hit me up in the comment section. I would love to know, to read from you. Share, like. This is Trading Nigeria. I'll see you in the next video. My name is Sam.